Welcome back to the My Pro Golfer channel. Today we're back in the garden and we've got a special episode for you specifically geared around the Titleist Vokey wedge and then what set makeup of wedges is best for you. Titleist has gifted us with a bunch of Vokeys to try and I've got a lot of discussion coming your way. So pay attention. We're gonna help you get fit for wedges that'll be best for you right now. Hey, thanks for watching today's episode. Here at My Pro Golfer, you know we like to keep things simple. And today, I've got a special gift for you to help you never miss a 5-foot putt again. Click the link below and download today. So a lot of people ask me about getting fit, and one of the things that I love to do is fit students. So here I have accounts with a couple different manufacturers, and I try really hard to get the specific best club, regardless of company, with that player. Now that being said, one of the things that I look at for when I think about fitting somebody, I look a lot at what are tour players playing that they're not getting paid to play. And so you will generally find a Vokey wedge on tour with a player that's not getting paid for it if they're with a different company. And so that's not across the board, but I do think it's important to keep an eye on because I think that everyone has an optimal set of clubs for themselves. And I don't know that one company can, across the board, cover everything. So I have Titleist with me today, Vokey wedges, honestly because they have the most use on tour, okay? So that's the biggest thing. And the next biggest thing is my buddy Tyler from Titleist is a Titleist rep. He's a great guy. And he loaned me this to show you this video and do a wedge education seminar this Saturday. So those are the kind of people that I want to do business with. I want to encourage people to go the routes that the reps really work hard for me and for you, and they really care a lot about their product. So that being said, we're going to now fit you for wedges, so to speak. And what I want to do in any fitting is work from the green backwards. So you'll notice I've got white golf balls down here, and we're not fitting putters today, we're talking wedges. So the first thing I want to think about is what ball do I play? I want to get fit off the ball that I play because that's the spin. And if you don't have a ball, you need to go check one of these playlists and find out how to get fit for a golf ball. It's absolutely vital that you play the same ball all the time, no matter what your level is, because the balls react differently. The balls react differently just in how they're cut. Like some of these balls that you see in the buckets here, we've got some really limey balls. Those are brand new. They're going to react differently on the foresight than something like this. It's got a chunk in it, and you go out there, you think, man, I must have hit that pretty bad. Well, not necessarily. You might just hit it on the wrong side of the golf ball. That's why the tour players hate mud balls, for instance. So I'm going to have you do the chipping version of this today, the chipping portion of this, with the ball that I play, which is a Pro V1 X left dash, typically. Some of those are Pro V1 X's because I go back and forth. So fit yourself from green to tee because this is where you score. So it's most important to get fit correctly for a putter, and then you want wedges, understanding your game from short to long, from scoring, the most important part of golf, to off the tee. And I got to keep that in mind as we go through this process for you. All right, so you've got your ball picked out. You already know what kind of putter you want. Now you get the most important shot, which is the closest chip shot around the greens. What kind of swing are you? Are you a steep player? If you want a steep player, you want a little bit more bounce. If you're a shallow player, you want less bounce. And today I've got, in my hands, we've got 5 wedges, so 2 58s. And the 58 is basically there if you want 3 wedges in your bag. So a pitching wedge, a 52, and a 58. Those would be my recommendation for you. If you want 4 wedges, and most tour players have 4 wedges because they're long, and they recognize that the easiest shots inside 150 yards is what they're really focused on. So pitching wedge that has the workability to bring the ball flight down, something in between that 125 to 100 range is a really important yardage on tour. The next one is what are they chipping with, and bunker shots and all that stuff. So a 55 or 56 and then a 60. That's typically what you'll see on tour. For the average player, you probably want a little less loft. Get something more like a 58 that's got a grind that if you're a steeper player is pretty high. So 58.08 would probably be a good grind for you in that M model, or something simpler like more like the S that has less digging opportunities for you. Because if you're a digger, you want to have less dig options in your wedge. That's why a high handicap player shouldn't play blades. It digs. If they're already steep, they're just going to dig to China, and we just don't want that when we're playing golf. So, excuse me. So I'm going to fit myself today, and we're going to start with this 60 degree D grind, 12 degrees of loft, which is a lot of loft. I'm sorry, 12 degrees of bounce, which is a lot of bounce for me. But I want to test that shot for you guys and really give you sort of the understanding of why it's so important to test all these things. And the most important shot is the 10-yard little short chip shot. So I've already hit a few balls out there. We're going to hit this 60 degree with that 12 degrees, and the flange kind of sits up a little bit. I've got a little bit of space between the ground and my face, which for me is not the best look. I could tell already I don't love it. Let's see if a couple strikes. Comes out pretty low on that shot. Just brushing the turf. Hearing that interaction, the bounce is not really digging, it's really sliding through. I kind of like that feel. Let's just hit a couple more here. Just kind of middle of the stance, nothing crazy, just brushing the turf. A little bit more underneath of it, hitting a little higher shot. That's the 60-12. I like the feel, I like the roundness. The look is really, really good, honestly. There's not a lot going on that I don't like. Obviously the ball's coming out very well. Now I'm gonna go the exact extreme. So instead of 12 degrees, I'm gonna grab this black, and black is just color. It has a little bit of different maybe feel to it, depending on the materials, so keep that in mind. You want to really have something that you like looking at, and black takes away some of the glare that you can get from the sun a lot of times. But this is a 60T, which means tour. It just gives you a lot of options with the grind on opening the faces to hit different shots. And so if you're a high handicapper, you don't need that. You don't even want that. It's a lot of information. But for a tour player, you want as much options as you can that fit your game. That's the big key. So I like to play a lot of different shots around the green, so I'm gonna put this in my hands, hit a few little shots. Oh man, it slid under it so much easier. It's just subtle too. It's not like you're gonna be like, whoa, that was crazy different. They're just little subtle differences. You can see how the ball comes out a little bit more right there. Somewhat the same shot. Let's keep hitting these shots and go from there. So as I continue to go through this process of the 60-degree wedge, I'll give you some more feedback as we get into fitting the next series of wedges on this version of how to play golf.
Hey, just want to remind you to not forget on getting your free gift below on how to never miss a 5-foot putt.
All right, so we've got the 60 figured out. We're gonna go with the T04 grind in the bounce because I do a lot of work around. One of my previous sets, I had a 60, 55, 50, and 45 in my wedges. And I just think that makes a lot of sense to me. 5 degrees, you can play with what you want, but I'm gonna play around with it. So Titleist doesn't provide a 55 in the set. It does provide a 54, and I've got the M and the D in the 54, and then in the 56, it's got the S. So we've got 10 degrees of bounce, 12 degrees of bounce, and 8 degrees of bounce. And I think that's kind of a really good area. You don't need more higher or lower for this particular shot because it's still your chip shots around the greens. It's a certain yardage in the air, but it's really more for the chipping and the scoring. It's not so much in the full swing stuff. So let's go ahead and hit some more chips here. I've collected the balls. I'm gonna start with 56, and that's our already fit wedge there, and then the ones we try to put on the side there, just to give you some feel for that. So here we go, 56 degree. Kind of on a fresh line of grass just to hit the shots. And we just want to make the same chip shot we just made with our lob wedge. So the same length of swing, same setup, and just see where the ball goes. So that same length, send it just about to the 20. You can see how that ball came out a little lower again. So there's a little bit of grab in that turf interaction with this 10 degrees of bounce in the S grind. A little bit higher there, still just a little short at 20, about the same. Get a little bit better spot here. Yeah, nothing to write home about. I'm not like totally shocked by these shots. They're all fine. I like the look, I like the feel. Vokey's hard not to like. It's just a good looking feeling wedge. A little bit bigger swing there. Just a hair, really stopped quick in the grass. That's why it's so important to use your own golf ball. What does it do? How does it react? What are the important things of this wedge that I need to figure out? So that was 5 of that, all pretty much hit right in the center. So we got a really good idea of what's going on, and that's the S10 grind. Now we're gonna go to 54. We got the 12 degree, we're gonna do that next. You may see a consistency with me where a lot of my shots are less bounce. I'm pretty shallow, so I don't need a lot of bounce. You can see how my turf interaction is pretty chill here. So just a normal shot should go a couple yards further, and to be honest with you, I'm not the longest player, so getting a couple extra yards even in my wedges feels pretty good. The less I can do to hit the shot a little bit further, the better. Yeah, you can see how it's landing just 2 or 3 yards beyond. So my stock chip shot that went 10 yards with my lob wedge, with the 54 is going about 21 to 22. And I like the feel. There's a little less grind and grab in that D grind. So the bounce is more, but the grind is different. So it's just taking a little bit of that edge of the wedge out, and it's to be able to slide through the grass a little bit better. I'm loving this feel. Let's try one with the least amount of grind. Okay, so we got our least amount of bounce. It's 08 M grind, which would be similar. M used to be for Mickelson or O'Meara. They try to name their wedges after people. A little something to keep an eye on. And this looks very good. It's not because of the color, just the way the club sits on the grass. I think I enjoy the look of less. Now that first one didn't feel quite as good as the last one. Let's take a look at this next shot. Yep, still didn't quite grab the same way. It's not coming off quite as nice. I'm not sure I love that M grind. Well, that was pretty good. But right off the bat, the cool thing about me and what I like is like I'll know pretty fast if I love something or not. And I'd say I like that 12 degree bounce and the 54 with the D grind. Let's go with that. All right, so we've got our 60 and our 55 figured out. Now it's time to fit that pesky yardage between your pitching wedge and your sand wedge. And so for the 4 wedge player, we've got 2 52s today, which will bend to 50. And then I've got a 48, which will obviously bend back to 50 as well. And so we've got 8 degrees of bounce, we got 12 degrees of bounce, and we got 10 degrees of bounce, and all are the F grind. So that, again, we're starting to get into like an actual club. So the F grind is sort of like an actual club look. We're not as concerned about the grind or how it slides through the turf for hitting different shots. We don't need to open up the face. We can just grab this, and then just from the simplicity standpoint, I'm gonna use the yellow ball now because it's not a chipping club, it's not a scoring club, and most importantly, I don't wanna walk all the way out there and find all these balls that I'm about to hit for you. So we're gonna start with a 52. Because we've used the least amount of grind, least amount of bounce in most of the clubs, we're gonna start with 5208, and we're gonna give that a shot. So all you're looking to do here is just find the gaps, and so you wanna be able to hit all your clubs on a launch monitor, or at least something where you can shoot the yardage and have that fitting. And then, you know, we're doing this video in about 15 minutes, but in actuality, you probably should take a good hour to get fit for wedges. You want to chip them on the greens, you want to hit them full, you want to hit bunker shots, you want to hit high, low shots, you want to be able to do all the shots, and unfortunately that takes time. So if you're not going to do a wedge fitting in an hour or more, then you're just not really utilizing the best yes in your game. Now let's just go through the wedge centers themselves. That felt very good. I like the launch, I like the interaction with the turf. Very happy with that first strike. We'll hit 3 with each. That'll give us a good feel. And like I said, you're gonna know pretty fast. If it's not like, wow, that's amazing, right off the bat, it's probably not the wedge that you want. That was pretty solid. I flighted that down just a little bit. All right, let's hit one really solid one. I like the look behind the golf ball. I like the feel. I might want a little bit of toe down. I might bend these down 1 degree. Oh, that was very well struck. It's just amazing when you hit balls. It's like 2 or 3 are fine, and then one's just like, woof, and then one sometimes is not good at all. So that's a keeper so far. We're gonna grab the next 52. F, this is 12. Now it's a different material, so this is the chrome, so it's got that chromed out look. It may change the feel and the look a little bit. This one looks like it may be already bent a degree down, so I might enjoy this a lot. Yeah, that came out really clean. I really like the way that looked. It dug a little bit, so we want to make sure you hit a few shots with each club just to be on the safe side. But we're hitting some quality wedge shots here. Very well covered on that one. Ball flight is really good. Turf interaction is good. Oof, this is gonna be a little trickier. I like 2 wedges already. That's what you mean. You need that time to be able to pick the exact shot shape, the quality of strike. You know, if you hit it really, really good, you want to get rid of that shot. You say, nah, it's not going to happen every time. You hit it really, really poor, you want to get rid of that shot in your brain. You want to fit off the average. What do I most often do? What happens to my game? There, that was a pretty average shot. Pretty happy. So the fit's good. The ball's being struck right in the middle. There's a better interaction on the turf look, so there's just as much dirt on the toe as there is on the heel. This is a pretty good fit for me. I'm gonna give that a bounce above this one, so we're gonna keep that right on this side. That one's out, this one will stay in, and then we're gonna go 48. This 48's got 10 degrees of bounce. And remember, we're gonna be, yardage-wise, we're gonna be a little bit further than that 52. So we'll find these things out on our launch monitor. Obviously it comes out a little bit lower because of the loft. 4 degrees is a lot. 4 degrees is about optimal. 5 is probably better for the guy that wants to play, a guy or gal who wants to play a 60 degree. Just depends on your versatility around the greens. That came out a lot lower, got a little ahead of that. Got to keep those negative shots in play too. How does it respond when I don't hit my best shot? Definitely looks de-lofted. Definitely looks much more like a pitching wedge at 58 degrees. That was the best swing. Lost my balance a little bit, it was so good. That'll tell you something. So ball flight was pretty good. I don't like the feel as much, but it's pretty solid. I think I'm gonna go, this is odd to be honest, but I think it's probably a little bit of the turf, but the 12 degrees of bounce goes through the turf a little bit better. So I'm gonna take the 12 in the F, bend the 52 2 degrees strong, and that is gonna be my set makeup. Thank you all so much for watching. I know that was a fairly long video and there's a lot of information. So let's just recap really quick. Set makeup. If you're a high handicap player, you want less wedges and more, and a shorter player, you want less wedges and more distance control. You want more versatile wedges as a high handicap player. And as a low handicap player, you want a lot of options. You want to be able to hit a lot of different shots because you're trying to get from shooting 82, 85 down to 75 and 70. To do that, you have to have different shots to hit around the course and on the greens. And so that's when you get more versatile. So for me, who's a better player, I'm trying to really get my game to a certain level this year. I fit myself into a 60 with 4 degrees of bounce, specifically for the areas that I play in. I'm going to be able to slide that underneath the golf ball, get a lot of spin, do some different characteristics that lay the face open, close it, and get the response I want out of the golf ball. Then we went with 54 degree, which we're going to bend to 55 because I love that 60, 55, 50, and 45 concept, and then build your irons off of that. Because it's really important to play the short shots that are the most shots that you hit and get fit for those first, and then build your bag outward to driver versus driver down. It's just vital. So then we've got the 55, 12 degrees of bounce, it just went through the turf a little bit better, and we like that feel, and so there's a little bit of forgiveness when we make the bigger swing. I like that. And then we took the 52F, 12 degrees of bounce, and we bent it to 50 to fit our set makeup. Ball came out very good, and we really liked the way that the ball interacted in the air and on the turf. That was the best fit. So I just want to thank Titleist and the Vokey company for loaning us out all these wedges for our wedge education that we're going to have this week. And Tyler, specifically, I really appreciate you bringing these down to us. We'll hopefully get some people in the right wedges playing the best golf of their life as we continue on our series of how to play golf, focusing on the things that you need. If you haven't already, like and subscribe. Comment below. I will do whatever kind of information you want. Most of the videos that we do come from you, the viewer, commenting. We'll see you next Thursday at 6 a.m.
Hey, just give me 15 seconds of your time. I want to highlight these True Linkswear golf pants. They're one of our partners on our website, and they have great materials and different options from shoes to pants to shorts to shirts to hats to head covers. They're all about enjoying the walk. I want you to go to their link, and today we just launched the new 20% off right here on our website that you can use to get 20% off of anything that they have on their website. So go to that link, check them out. I've been in these pants this morning and I wore their shorts yesterday. Just phenomenal product. Check it out.